Hello, welcome to Luann's Creative Corner. Today I'm going to show a card that I didn't have at my craft program for kids. This is a card I learned from Jennifer McGuire, and I will definitely link to her video. You'll want to check that one out. She shows a lot of different styles of this technique, and I'm just doing the one card. This is called a pop-up window card. And as you see, it's very cute. It on the outside is very simple, and yet when you open it up, inside you have a birthday party. And these are birthday cards, but I also show one that I've made as a Get Well card. And that's this one here. And I thought I would show this now because this Meer cat set is available from Stampin' Up! Just for a limited time for the rest of this month. It's a celebration item, so if you'd like to get it, you need to act quickly. All right, let's get started. So for the pop-up piece, you're going to need to cut a piece of cardstock to 5.5 by 5.5 inches. And then you will score it at 3/4 of an inch, 4 inches, and 4 3/4. And you'll see I'm using my little scoring tool here. This makes it very easy to get accurate and very straight score lines so that you can fold on those lines. And you want to fold and burnish. Make sure you get some really good folds there. This will be the pop-up feature for the inside of your card. You just use a regular card base for these cards, which is a piece of cardstock that is 5.5 by 8.5 and then folded at 4 1/4. For this card, I'm using the Lawn Fawn Wild For You stamp set and the smallest circle in the reverse stitch scallop circle windows. I made a couple of these cards last year, and when I did, I stamped and colored and die cut extra animals, and that's what I'm using here to make this card today. So now I'm just deciding the arrangement of the animals, how I want them on the card, so that I can die cut that window. For that, the giraffe is going to peek through the window. You'll see later that the alligator doesn't make the cut. I decided to go with the elephant and a lion. So now I'm figuring out the position of where that circle will need to be cut. I can kind of see through the cardstock just a bit, and also I can tell from underneath where to position it. Although I wish I would have positioned it a little bit over. I have a bit of a tip for you here. As you see, I use the blue painter's tape to position my die. And I used too big of a piece, and I let too much of it stick to the paper, and I had trouble getting it up. And I actually ripped it a little as I was trying to get it off, so don't do that. I'm still deciding here on the final position of the animals. In the card I had made last year, I did the little mouse from the set, and he was the one who was being pulled up by the balloon, but I didn't make extras of those, so I decided to go with the small elephant, and then it felt like I needed a large elephant there too, so that's what I did. Now I'm going to stamp. Before I glue anything down, I thought I'd stamp on the pop-up piece, the sentiment that's going to go along the side. And from this same Wild For You stamp set, I'm doing Have a Wild Birthday. So you'll see here the stamp positioner I have is the Tim Holtz stamp platform. The grid that you see there on the bottom did not come with it. I printed that onto an overhead transparency and cut it to fit. The blue painter's tape just helps it to stay in place, and I have an extra piece if I ever need one. So if you haven't used a stamp positioner before, you'll see here it's very nice to help you position your stamps. And if you aren't happy with how dark it stamps the first time, you can re-ink and stamp again, and it has held it in the exact same place, so you can re-ink as many times as you'd like until you're happy with how dark it is. And they're wonderful for many other techniques. Now it's time to attach the inside pop-up piece to the card base. I'm using some double-sided tape here. You could use any strong adhesive, and you're going to put that adhesive along the tabs, the 3/4 inch tabs at either side of your pop-up piece. The side of the pop-up piece that has just the one fold is the one that will attach into the center of your card base. And you'll see me here. So just remove that release tape from your adhesive on that side, the one that just has the one fold there, and put the edge right up next to the fold, and then fold your card base over it, and then you can fold it over, and you're going to fold both of those, remove that release tape, and then fold it, and that will get your the pop-up effect, and yet it will still fold flat when your card is closed. All right, and now it's time to glue the little animals and start creating the birthday party that will be on the inside of your card. On this one, the giraffe, he's the one I planned on to go through look through the window, and so he's the one I do first. His position matters more than any. So I'm carefully gluing him so that he can be seen through the window. Part of the effect of this card is that it's very simple from the outside, and then when you open it up, you've got that birthday party with lots of elements inside. And so you want to, as you're gluing things, be careful that they can't be seen through that window. And you'll see that later when I put the balloons, and then try to be careful when I'm doing the confetti as well. So gluing the animals down, I decided to add a party hat for the elephant, and the giraffe is bringing a present. I'm going to wait and glue down the little elephant until I can make sure to match it up with the balloon. I'm using the Stampin' Up! Balloon Bouquet Punch, and there are a couple of stamp sets that go with it. This is the Happy Birthday Gorgeous, and I use the It's Your Day sentiment on the front of the card. And the other stamp set is called Balloon Adventures. So I'm going to use the Balloon Bouquet Punch to punch out a few balloons. I'm punching out of also some Stampin' Up! Cardstock. That is Melon Mambo, Crushed Curry, then I'll do also some Tempting Turquoise, and the one I already have done is out of Pumpkin Pie. I'm not a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, but I have purchased a lot of their supplies over the years, and not being a demonstrator means that I'm not restricted from showing old sets, although I'm sorry, I do know it's frustrating to see somebody using something and have it not be available. But there are a lot of balloon punches and balloon dies out there, so look in your stash. You probably already have something that would work if you wanted to recreate this card. So now I'm using a sponge dauber and the matching ink just to go around the outside and add a little bit of dimension to these balloons. I'm using a silver Pentel Sparkle Pop gel pen to add that last point of light to each balloon. And now it's time to start gluing the balloons. I'm going to do the one first that will be holding up the little elephant so that I can match him up, make sure it's right above him, and then I'll glue him down as well. So I was going to edit out all of the gluing down of the balloons, but I thought I'd like to talk a little bit about this problem that I ran into. Sometimes you have to really think ahead. As I was gluing down the Crushed Curry balloon, I could see, oh, there's not very much room there. I will put that one off the side and I can just trim it later. And then there's room for the Melon Mambo balloon. But as I closed the window and looked to see, I can see that balloon. Well, I used wet glue, so I should be able to reposition it, but it let me move it just a little bit, so you can see it still a little bit through that window. But that's okay, it's barely visible under that scallop. I'm using a black Pentel Sparkle Pop gel pen to add the balloon strings. I think especially in this case, just drawing them yourself is the quickest and easiest way to get balloon strings. You just relax and draw them. They needed to go from the balloon down to the animal who's holding it. And so I'm trying to stamp the stamps, one of those stamp sets, the Balloon Adventure stamp set has balloon strings, but it would have been a whole lot more work. And so drawing them this way just was a quick and easy way to do it. And using that gel pen, it makes them kind of sparkly. And now I'm using a lot of the different colors of the Pentel Sparkle Pop gel pens to add confetti. If you didn't want to draw in your own confetti, then I would suggest doing the confetti before gluing on the animal, and then you could just stamp confetti over the whole piece. I glued on a butterfly from the Wild For You stamp set, and I used the silver Pentel Sparkle gel pen to add a spiral flight line for it. I used the Zig Memory System dual tip rider, the black, to add a quick exclamation point. And I had also used a couple of those in the confetti as well. And now I'm just trying to figure out how to cut off the edge of that balloon. I finally found a way that worked out where I could cut off the edge of that balloon. And there we have a window pop-up card, very simple on the outside, and a surprise birthday party on the inside. Did I go too far with the confetti? Let me know if you think it's too busy. You can look there, see just the edge of that balloon, but it's like a little hint to what's going on inside, right? Still very cute. So I made another using the Fawn Beam Me Up stamp set. And this is an alien themed stamp set. I used the same kind of idea, but took it into space. This stamp set has some really fun space themed sentiments, and I really love that spaceship. And the die cut that goes with it has the little piece so you can cut out on the inside of the spaceship and then have one of your aliens peeking up into the spaceship, or peeking through it, being in the spaceship and peeking out. And I thought, ooh, that would be a fun window for this pop-up window card. And you'll see there I'm matching it. It fits right in there. And so I did the spaceship to go on the outside and cut that window through. I also used some older wooden stamps. This one is a dots called Midnight Stars, and then this is a dots called Skyworks. So sorry, I like to go back in my stash. These are some of my favorite stars and kind of galaxy type of stamps. And I wanted to keep it simple on the front, and so just have that spaceship, and then I did some tone-on-tone embossing there with those stars. I assembled this card exactly like the previous card. The card base there is made of from Night of Navy, and on the inside for the pop-up piece that's 5.5 by 5.5 inches, I cut from Tempting Turquoise. Here are a few of the aliens that I stamped and colored and cut to choose from for the card. For the alien world on the inside of the card, I just cut from scrap paper a couple of stencils of my own, just with a little curve there, and did a bit of sponging to make the inside of the card. For this one, I decided to do just a couple of balloons, and I used that same balloon bouquet punch from Stampin' Up. And now you're seeing the outside of the card with that really cute spaceship and the alien peeking through. I embossed it onto the front of the card, and I used the Sparkle Pop gel pens to add the little details. And this is the third card I wanted to show today. It's one I just recently made. I needed to make a get well card for a young girl, and I just had this new stamp set that I got from Stampin' Up called The Gang's All Meer. It's a celebration set, so you'll need to spend $50 in order to get this one for free, but I thought it was really cute, and it worked so well with this pop-up window card format. So I made it the same way as the other cards. I just used your traditional sized 4.25 by 5.5 card base. I made a pop-up piece from a piece of light brown cardstock that's 5.5 by 5.5, and scored it at 3/4 of an inch, 4 and 4 3/4. I cut my own hill for the outside on the front, and instead of just saying light brown, I should tell you it is Nina from the Naturals collection, and the color is called Husk. And then the cactus and the gecko, I stamped those on Stampin' Up's Old Olive. The Get Well Soon sentiment is from Stampin' Up's Thoughts and Prayers stamp set. And as you can see here, it was part of another sentiment, and like Jennifer McGuire says to do, I cut them apart to use it just the Get Well Soon part that I needed. I stamped all of the Meer cats from the collection, all of the different. There were three different ones in the collection. I stamped them all onto the Nina Husk cardstock, and I thought that would make for less coloring, which it did. I looked at some meerkats online to try to make them look a little realistic, and they're pretty dark around the eyes, and when I colored like that, I really didn't like it. So I erased as much of it as I could and tried to just make them look how I thought they would look nice. I'm showing here the watercolor pencils that I use to color. They are Arteza, and I'll show the front of the case as well. I just got them for Christmas, so I'm just new at using them. And I also use the Stampin' Up! Blender pen to blend the colors a little bit more. Here's the completed card. I stenciled some clouds on both the front and on the inside. Fawn has a wonderful cloud stencil that they just came out with. I haven't used it yet, but I did buy it and I want to try it out. There are the meerkats. You can see sort of dark around the eyes, but very minimal there. I felt like it needed a little something still, and since it's a get well card, I couldn't do balloons. I looked online to see what type of bushes or something greenery might be around where meerkats are in their habitat, and that's what I found and just drew some with the watercolor pencils. I was really pleased with how this turned out, and the little girl that I gave it to really loved it as well. So what do you think of the pop-up window card? Do you think that the cards I've shown here are only appropriate for children, or could you send them to an adult as well? Post in the comments below. I'd be interested to know your ideas. I'll link here to Jennifer McGuire's video, which is where I learned how to make this card. She shows several different types of pop-up window cards that you can make. I think they're great. I've just shown one kind here. So thanks so much for dropping by Luann's Creative Corner. Please subscribe, and if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. Thanks. Bye.